Hello everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach. We're buying SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present my updated team picker so far in the preseason for SuperCoach. Haven't uploaded in 10 days. I do apologise about that, but just feel like I needed a simple video idea to get my flow back up and running. So here we go. Also it gets good views, so that helps. But look, I'm sorry, I'm just recording after hearing the news that Will Day has a stress fracture in his foot, which is really frustrating as a Hawthorn supporter. Like, I feel like every preseason there's always one of our most important players going down with an injury. Like Tom Mitchell broke his leg heading into the 2019 season. Mitch Lewis with a near-on ACL injury, and yeah, last preseason, and then Will Day now out for probably round one with a foot fracture, foot stress fracture. So that's super frustrating, but it should give a lot more opportunity to guys like Josh Ward and Cam McKenzie to have a go in the midfield. So I guess I'm looking at it as a glass half full, but I really thought Will Day was ready to explode and break out. But I think just heading into this year now, I think he's probably going to have a similar output just due to a very limited preseason. I know Freo Tragic, shout out to him, commented in one of my more recent videos talking about how he was very interested in Will Day, and I could, he would have been a pretty solid pod pick if he didn't go down with an injury. So yeah, just hope that Hawthorn just do the best recovery as possible for him. So yeah, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. Like, I think injuries to your best players are probably, in my opinion, more demoralising than losses, which is yeah, that's just how I look at it, especially if you're a rebuilding side. So anyway, enough about Will Day. Let's get into my current team as we speak. So I think there's been a fair few changes since I did my first team picker. So I guess I'll go through it. So James Sicily, well, I mean, remember last season that Will Day would play midfield but then float down back. This might help Sicily a bit more with his scoring very early days, but yeah, I had to get my boy in, had to get James Sicily, so pretty happy to have him. Jordan Ridley. One thing that did concern me yesterday was that we saw the news that Nick Martin was going to be spending like some time off halfback, potentially as a kick-in candidate. So that's another body to go in there and potentially affect Ridley. I do think Ridley ceiling is increased with scoring with Ben Mackay in the team, but it just hurts if they're going to prefer Nick Martin down back taking kick-ins, that sort of thing. So maybe something to consider. Maybe Martin moving down back does affect Essen. I think does affect Ridley. I did see an Essen supporter on Twitter saying yesterday that it seems like Essen is certainly looking to be a bit more quicker in transition from backline to the forward line. And they did name a few blokes like Ridley, Heppel, that sort of thing. They're more conservative, a bit slower with the ball moving up. So it looks like they're going for a faster pace backline transition to the forward line. So maybe something to monitor there. Hayden Young in the midfield, he's an absolute lock. That might be a video idea. I might do my absolute lock so far in my Supercoach team, but no, I won't say he's a lock. I'll save that for the video. But yeah, Hayden Young, if he's moving into the midfield with the good buy, it's a bit hard to. He's going to be over 50% owned. Hayden Young, I think he's ready for a massive breakout season here. Zach Williams, 216k. I mean, you just have to pick him, even though he's a bit of a pain in the ass as a Supercoach player. So I guess he's the Elliot Yo pick of 2024. But we'll see how we go with Zach Williams, see if what his type of role is. But I think people are just going to pick him regardless, just due to this massive um, uh, discounted price. So James Trezise, he's my guy. He's the bloke I'm super hot on. I'm personally of the opinion, well, I mean, not from last year, but I think this year, I just want to start a pod. Like, people just aren't going to own James Trezise. Now, this is purely based on if he gets named. Well, I guess we'll find out in round zero if he does get named. If he is, he has a massive ceiling with scoring down back. So I think James Trezise, I'd love to pick him if he is selected in Richmond's best 22 in that round zero game and see if it translates into him being picked round 1, and I guess the sort of role as well we just got to have a look at. So, but if he is picked, he is a really good he's really good at accumulating the ball. So I'd love to grab him. Nick Caulfield, look, he should be in the Dogs' best 23, so he should get picked. And yeah, he's my D6. One thing to monitor, I don't have Marty Hoare in here, and Marty Hoare could just be that instant replacement. I think Michael Hibbert did retire, so Marty Hoare could just be that instant replacement for Hibbert in that Melbourne team. So that's one thing to monitor, because I do think Marty Hoare is also a really good pick. Josh Gibcus, I mean, he should get a game if he's all good with his hamstring. Toby Pink is just another one, just due to other injuries down back for North. I think Toby Pink, and there's one other guy that's healthy, but yeah, just most of their key defenders are currently injured for the time being. I think they've just picked him just to be selected every week in North Melbourne's backline, so they clearly see something in him, which is fair enough. Now we move into the midfield. I believe in my last video I had Nick Dacos as a defender, and I've moved him up into the midfield. So the thought process here is there is a lot of value down back in terms of rookies. Like, I haven't got Marty Hoare in there. There are a lot of really good rookies down back in the back line. And my eventual plan would be to move Dacos back into defence once some of these rookies do max out in price. Zach Butters hasn't really moved from my side. Yeah, I'm just going with the first time probably in a very long time that I'm not going to play above 650k. So Nick Dacos, look, at the minute, is my most expensive player. Zach Butters, yeah, he just had an unreal season in the midfield, and he'll certainly look to certainly be the same or go even one level better in 2024. Most people are picking him. Tom Green wasn't in my last video. Now, that was purely because of the buys, but I know that I've got a lot of round 0 buys, but man, I really want to pick Tom Green. So I think at the minute I'm just going to go, stuff it. I'll worry about it later. Tom Green would just be he's so fun to own. He's such a good player. Great to watch. Yeah, I just love Tom Green. So yeah, I've just picked him. Like, he wasn't originally my team due to the buy, but just so hard not to have him, because yeah, if it wasn't for the scuff fixture in 2024, he would easily be in my side regardless. And Andy Brayshaw, 608k. I did hear a couple of people say they're worried that he could be moved off into the wing or that sort of thing, but I think he can be a good scorer anywhere, even if he does spend a little bit of time on the wing. He could play 50% CBAs and still have a really solid season. So at 608k, I'm expecting Andy Brayshaw to go that next level in 2024, which I'm hoping so. And I'm hoping that Caleb Strong's more the tag target. So that's really my sort of thought process. And one thing I did promise John O'Carroll to give him a shout out. So shout out to John O'Carroll. He's an absolute legend. Just an absolute, just loves SuperCoach and loves the content creator. So shout out to him. We talk a fair bit. I'll get back to your message, mate. Sam Walsh, 576k. Look, by the way, our teams are so dependent on how certain players and certain teams go in round 0, because we're getting information for free for nearly half the teams in the competition. If Sam Walsh scores a 70 in the first game and his role's bad, no one's going to pick him. But for now, I mean, that's proper value. Like, there's value in this pick for him to, and he is the kind of player that can get up to that 110 plus average. It's just the lack of pre-season over the past couple of years that's really affected him. But from all reports, he's doing just fine. Fully healthy pre-season, hopefully, for Sam Walsh. Hopefully a good score in round 0, because I just want to pick him. Colby McKercher, 202k. He's another absolute lock in my team. So, look, I was reading reports from North Melbourne, and I guess I'll touch on Zach Fisher as well during this. I was reading some training reports from today, because I think they had a mini match simulation, North Melbourne. McKercher and Fisher were on the other team. Were playing against each other, but McKercher was doing that halfback, I guess, sort of transition role, just getting a lot of the pill because there's no Zeeble Hall anymore. And Zach Fisher was on the other team doing that exact same role. So from me, it seems like Zach Fisher and Colby McKercher are going to be those two accumulative types down back. So McKercher could have that Sheasel role this year. So that's so important. And then Zach Fisher, if he has, he wasn't in my team for the past couple of weeks, but after hearing that today, I just thought, gee, it's pretty tough to get injured in that role. I know he's a little bit injury prone with hamstrings, and just he's probably not the fittest player in the world, but I think Zach Fisher, just in that role, it's pretty tough to get injured in that role. It's a pretty bruise-free role, and I just think it's a bit hard not to pick him, especially at that price for the time being. Is he a keeper? I'm not too sure. Maybe not, but in that forward line, you never know. I think a 95 plus average can keep you as a keeper in the forward line this year. So we got Riley Sanders here. I think he's my favourite top 10 prospect. Now, obviously, we all know Harley Reid, but everyone loves him, that sort of thing. I think Riley Sanders is going to be an absolute gun in the future. I probably do prefer him as a player long term over McKercher. I think there's just something about him. I've just been watching his highlights, and if he can just play a little sprinkle of midfield time, yeah, he could Bond could pass a torch to him in 5 years' time. That's just how much I rate him. I'd be very surprised if Riley Sanders is not a good pick long term in Supercoach and as a AFL player in general. So Jeremy Sharp, older, experienced body, so that's totally fine to have him in the team. So yeah, played as a wing at Gold Coast, fell out of favour a little bit. So we've got him in at M8. Then we got Jackson Binns, could be a breakout candidate in that Carlton team. Never got a game, but had some really good form in the VFL, so one to monitor. These rookie players don't really matter too much for the time being. Jai Clark, I mean, could he be a bloke that could get in that midfield? A bit tough. Chris Scott's a legend of just taking the piss out of his lying, but yeah, hopefully Jai Clark. I mean, Chris Scott's so stubborn, great coach, but so stubborn with certain things, and could be one of those cases where he just sticks with Guthrie, with Dangerfield, which is fair enough, but maybe try to sneak Jai Clark in there, like stuff Parford. He's not that good. Get Jai Clark in there if he can have a healthy preseason. Dominic Bedendo could be one of those Anthony Scott, Lockie McNeil sort of blokes. Like I did hear a lot of good things about him heading into preseason, so I think he could be that next bloke that just gets a game every week, like that Oscar Baker type. So I do like Bedendo maybe as a rookie. Then we got Max Gawn and Brady Grundy. Gaundy is back. If anything happens to one of these two blokes, Rowan Marshall's coming in 1,000%. I really like the Marshall pick, but I think just value-wise, Gawn and Grundy, it's just perfect. Like solo rucks. I think Tom Fullerton, we'll get to Tom Fullerton. I've got a feeling that I think Gawn's going to be the main ruck 1,000%. But I think Tom Fullerton will give him a chop out, and I think he could be that second ruck in that Melbourne team. But the difference between Gawn and Grundy playing as compared to Gawn and Fullerton playing, Fullerton can actually play and has been training for years as a forward at Brisbane. He's moved to Melbourne for a better opportunity as well. And also, I think due to Brandon Ryan coming to the Lions as well, certainly helped his decision going to Melbourne. And I do think Fullerton will be getting some games short term. And Brody Grundy, I think it's just going to be the pure solo ruck with Hayden McLean doing the chop out every now and then. So nothing too much to be concerned with. So, and Toby Conway, if he can get a gig over Reece Stanley, then I think this is a pretty easy pick. Like you just want a rookie ruck to be playing for you because we don't need an R3 loophole. We've got the early buy rounds. We got the early buy rounds where teams are literally going to be having a buy early and can be your loophole. So it's not really that big of a deal having playing ruck at R3, even if he is 158k like Jordan Sweet or 180k like Toby Conway. Could be Sam Naismith, could be anyone. But you want to pick a playing ruck here. So Toby Conway's the bloke I've gone for the time being. Jack McRae, super boring pick, but with Bailey Smith's injury, hopefully you can just average 95 plus. I think he's starting to slow up as a player and as a super coach option, but it's a bit hard to see him not be a top 6 to 8 forward for this year. Sam Flanders, yeah, I'm getting more and more impressed from reports and all that from what I'm hearing. I think I saw something on Twitter where AFL Central posted an Instagram post and said who's going to be one bloke in fantasy or supercoach that you're going to be picking, who's your lock. Someone said Sam Flanders, and Sam Flanders liked the tweet. Liked the comment on Instagram. So yeah, I think he just seems fully locked in to be taking that next level once again at that sun. Sorry, it's bloody boiling in my room. I'm sweating. So Sam Flanders, yeah. I saw a tweet as well that people were saying, oh, in Richmond's midfield, like it wasn't, not many people scored massive numbers, but I just don't think that matters. Like the forward line's too dull to not pick Flanders at this stage. So I think he's just a bit hard to say no to. I mean, we saw his scoring in SuperCoach late last year. He was in my draft team. He was unreal. So yeah, I think Sam Flanders is a very good pick. I've already touched on Zach Fisher. Jack Billings has replaced James Harmes from my SuperCoach team, just because I think there's a higher ceiling and a higher average on offer with Jack Billings. And I just think when both are at their peak, I think Jack Billings is a better player. Playing that half forward and could potentially roam into the midfield with guys like Oliver dealing with his personal issues, Angus Brayshaw dealing with his concussion, and his future's a little bit unclear at the minute. So I've gone with Billings, and I think he needed a new club to potentially reach his full potential as a player. Harley Reid, I mean, it's pretty basic. I mean, a lot would have to go wrong for him to not be a SuperCoach pick. Sean Manor. I don't think, by the way, I don't think Harley Reid's going to be as good of a rookie pick as like Harry Sheasel, Nick Dacos. I think he's going to be playing that half forward role, rotating into the midfield a little bit, which isn't as nice. So it wouldn't really surprise me if he made like 150k and just stopped there. Sean Manor, experienced body, 26 years old. Yeah, he's just my simple F6 for the time being. I've touched on Tom Fullerton. And then Darcy Wilson, 130k. Yeah, he's really impressing at the Saints. And it's pretty hard to impress Ross Lyon, but apparently he is. And could be a bloke. I mean, like, I think he could easily be a better player than Ryan Burns or that sort of thing. So I don't really rate Ryan Burns. I do rate Darcy Wilson from what I've seen with the highlights and the endurance. He just seems like a really good type of Ross Lyon player. So I think he can get a game pretty early on the wing or as a sub, not too sure. So yeah, this is the current team. Not too many changes from the last video. Are there any players that I guess I'm sort of, how long is this video going? Pretty long. Is there any sort of players that I'm sort of thinking to get into my team? Like Tom Stewart was one I was thinking of, but a bit of PTSD last year with me starting him and him scoring an 18. If he is moving a little bit more into the midfield, I don't like that as much. Just he has been injury prone a bit in the past, and the midfield is a brutal part of the game where it's just a lot more injuries, that sort of thing. So I think Tom Stewart, I do worry a little bit more about his body if he's moving more into the midfield. Sheasel, I saw the reports today of him having sort of this mixed role. They're moving him in all sorts of areas. Just don't like that as much. He's a good player, but just don't like that as much. So could be down half back, could be wing, could be a little bit more midfield, could be the guy that they're looking towards transitioning with him inside 50. So it's just a little bit too mixed for my liking. Not starting Bont, not starting English. By the way, with Tim English, Rory Lobb said he's going to play a little bit more time in the ruck, so that hurts Tim English a fair bit. So I'm not going to be touching the blokes at 700k. Yeah, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's it. I'll quickly tell you guys a little story. Like sorry, this is going to sound like a shorty story, but a little bit more PG. But I remember last night I had a dream that, oh, what happened? I actually forgot. I should have written it down. I did have a dream before about just me totally missing the SuperCoach lockout rolling lockout, and just didn't have a team at round one. That was a bit of a nightmare for me. So yeah, sorry guys, that was a pretty pointless story. Anyway, hope you guys are having a good AFL SuperCoach pre-season. I'll look to upload more content, that's for sure. And I certainly want to do a lot more collabs over the pre-season. We want to get to 1,000 subs before round 1, 2024. So not round 0, round 1. So before Carlton Richmond, I want to be on 1,000 subs. That's the aim. And I can't thank you guys enough if we can get there. So that's really my main goal over the pre-season. There'll be a lot of content with content creators, that sort of thing. So yeah, just thought I'd do this video to sort of get the ball rolling more with some momentum here for me uploading videos. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys are going good. See you around. Cheers.